Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Looking for that authentic spring training buzz? Let me tell you what's actually happening with the Blue Jays right now, and trust me, we're about to get into some real talk about where this team's headed. So we're 1 week out from spring training, and honestly, I can already feel it. That moment when you're standing at the complex watching guys just stretch, and somehow that's infinitely better than 4 months of off-season rumors. You know what I mean? Those videos through the fence of pitchers throwing, and suddenly everyone's an expert on slider shape. But we're almost there, almost to real baseball. Here's what you need to know about the rumor mill right now, and I'm going to be straight with you about what's real and what's just agents doing their thing. Max Scherzer possibly coming back? Look, every free agent pitcher got their own report yesterday. It's like a store deciding everything needs to go on sale at once. That's agents at work, plain and simple. And here's the thing about Scherzer that nobody wants to admit. Yes, I'll always remember that postseason game in Seattle. Absolutely cinematic. One of the best baseball moments I've ever covered. But I also remember the regular season where he was injured for half of it, and when he was healthy, he had a 5+ era. For this to make sense for the Blue Jays, other things would need to happen first. And honestly, I think Scherzer waits into the season. The Roger Clemens model, right? Why waste your time in spring training when you're 41 years old? You can wait for openings, wait for the right team, the right situation. Because Scherzer isn't chasing money at this point. This guy would play for free. He wants to win. He doesn't want to pitch for a 70-win team. So, am I preparing to write that story? Not just yet. Now, Framber Valdez, that's more interesting. If the Blue Jays landed him, they legitimately have the best rotation in baseball. Ground ball pitcher, lefty to break up all those righties, which absolutely matters in October. And if you're a ground ball guy with Vlad's Gold Glove defense at first and Andres Jimenez at short, that's a pretty good place to be. But here's where I struggle with it. We're already talking about what happens with Pearson and Barrios at the back of the bullpen. You can never have enough starting pitching, I know. And the Blue Jays have openings next year when Gausman and Bieber and potentially Barrios are gone. But would the Blue Jays be the most motivated team here? I'm not sure. Other teams don't even know who their number 3 starter is right now. The Jays are trying to figure out who their number 7 or 8 is. The Orioles need Valdez desperately. It's obvious. So I keep thinking other teams will be more motivated. That said, the baseball logic is there if you remove the roster complications. Has anyone thought about a 6-man rotation this year? Because I could absolutely see the Blue Jays doing that intermittently. Shane Bieber had forearm fatigue at the end of last year. He's coming off Tommy John. Do you really want to push him hard out of the gates? And Trey Savage is still young. Remember what happened with Alek Manoah when he jumped to 192 innings too quickly? Shoulder issues, injuries. It's a cautionary tale. Here's a name we haven't talked about all offseason. Bowden Francis. When I was checking the 40-man roster last night, I thought, oh yeah, Bowden Francis exists. His finish last year in the rotation wasn't pretty. 14 starts, 605 era. That's rough. But I don't think that's who he is. I also don't think carrying no-hitters into the 9th once a week is who he is either. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And honestly, the floor for a number 5 starter in baseball is in the basement. A classic, competent innings eater in that spot can be incredibly valuable. I think that's coming back in style. We got obsessed with openers and swingmen and matchups, but having a guy who gives you 4.5 ERA and doesn't embarrass himself makes everything simpler. Do I expect Francis on the opening day roster? No, but look at every year of Blue Jays baseball. Last year they had Easton Lucas, Jose Urena, Spencer Turnbull starting games. Go back a few years and you had openers like Ryan Bohr and Paolo Espino. When you go back 5 or 6 years before they had better injury planning, they were using 10 or 12 starters. It gets messy. If you're 7 or 8 deep, you're at a massive advantage. Now here's something that isn't a rumor. Joe Carter is getting a statue outside the dome. Finally. And yes, it took too long, but it's happening, and that's what matters. They're moving Ted Rogers' statue to a corporate office, which is probably where it's better suited anyway. This pairs perfectly with the 50th anniversary season. You're going to see tons of history celebrated this year, and that's crucial for building long-term fans. If fans only care about current players, they're gone when the team struggles. But if they understand who Holiday and Steve were, The great outfields with Bell and Mosby and Barfield, how underrated Jimmy Key was, the dynamic between Dwayne Ward and Tom Henke, then they stick around. They're invested in something bigger than one season. When you go to classic ballparks like Fenway or see all those statues outside St. Louis, that stuff matters. Every person who travels from Halifax or Vancouver or anywhere else to see a Jays game is going to get their picture with that Joe Carter statue. It's going to be the place you go. The attendance this year is going to be insane. People who've never asked me about tickets are asking about tickets. The interest from casual fans is palpable. And all that money swirling around feeds the roster. What the Blue Jays are doing payroll-wise right now is enough to win a World Series. If they stay here financially, they're a perennial contender. I fly down Monday, day after the Super Bowl. Set up day Tuesday, then Wednesday morning the gates open, and we're talking to Schneider and Vladdy. Way different vibe than last year when this team was projected for 77 wins. After last year, I've learned all these little things matter. Spring training might not predict much. Remember Springer batted like 1 for a billion last spring? But I'm going to find ways to keep myself entertained for 6 weeks. We're almost to real baseball. Finally.